Hi everyone, my name is Samantha and welcome to my YouTube channel Sewing in Switzerland. So today we are doing a tutorial together on how to do a bust dart, which at the end of the tutorial will look like this. Lovely. So let's just get straight into it, short and snappy. How do we do a bust dart and how do we keep it looking super flush and wonderful? Okay, step one. Okay, so we're just going to get straight into it, and what you need is your pattern piece that has the bust dart on it cut out, so you've got the pattern kind of overlaying the fabric and the fabric underneath. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut that out, everything's good to go, but I'm just going to focus here on the bust dart, so you kind of want it to look similar. And you're going to need your trusty ruler, a device for marking the fabric, so I've just got a chalk pencil here. You're going to need some pins and you're going to need your scissors as well. So this is I'll just zoom out, this is the front piece. I'm actually making the Salvi sundress on the Sew House 7 pattern, so it's a great dart illustration here to see what we're doing. So I'm just going to use that as our dart example. So I've turned the pattern to the side so you can see we've got the armhole here and the neck hole here, and then this here, this kind of strange looking triangle is going to be our bust dart. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it to the side and then I'm going to talk you through our first step. So you can see we've got these on the pattern piece here, we've got these triangles, these kind of notches. So what you want to do is grab your scissors and we're going to cut just into where those notches are, so it just marks them on the fabric. So you can see the fabric has been marked there. So then what we're going to do is, I'm just going to move everything out of the way, and we're going to grab a pin, and then here on the pattern you're going to have along here, this is the dart, this triangle shape is the bust dart here essentially, and it looks a bit overwhelming, but honestly it's easy peasy. So we're going to grab a pin and then you're going to find this circle up here and you're going to pin the size that you're making. So I'm making a size 14. So I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to push the pin through the hole all the way through, like that, through the middle. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to take the pins off here because we're going to have to remove this piece of paper now. So you just want to go ahead and unpin everything except that pin through the circular mark that you've got there, that little pattern information. Whoops. And then very carefully I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm going to peel the paper back. Okay, so I'll zoom in. And you can see here is the pin that's pushing through. And we're just gonna, with our, okay, this is easier without a tripod in the way. But there we go. I've gone ahead and I've marked where that pin pricked through. And then what we're gonna do is we are just going to, I'm just gonna push it through there again. And then we're going to flip the fabric over onto the wrong side where the pin's gone right through and just mark that as well. And then lovely, we're going to remove that pin. I'm going to zoom out and this is what it will look like. So I'm going to remove the paper from the top, move that out the way. As you can see, my fabric is a little bit wrinkled, so I do recommend that you press your fabric before you cut it out. Sorry, I'm just re-angling the camera. And then here, you're going to find where you did zoom in here. Remember that little notch that we did on the edge there? You're going to grab your ruler and you're going to line that notch end up with the dot that the pin pricked through. And you're just going to draw a line there we go, like that. And then you're going to find the other notch. Here we go. And then you're going to line up your ruler. So your ruler's on the edge of that notch there. And the other end is where that little dot is that we made. And you're just going to run your pencil along. I'm left-handed, so it looks a little bit silly. And then you should have this shape. And this is your dot shape now. So now what we're going to want to do is, I'm just going to zoom out. Going to unfold it, so we're just working with one side. Okay, lovely, looking good. And now we're going to want to match these two lines up that we've just made together. We want them to touch each other like that. So we're going to push them together until the lines are matching up. Okay, so I'm going to grab a pin, and you can see these two edges with the notches. Just push them together like that. And then on the underside there, just make sure they're lined up. So you're just lining up the notches, notch to notch basically at this point. And then you want to put your pin through. Okay, apologies. I had to pause for a second as I caught the hiccups. So, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're just going to line our pins up. Make sure that they are going through that line that we made there. And then through that second line there. And we're just going to work our way along until we reach that dot that we made first of all. So this one all the way up here. So again, just push your thread through, your pin through, sorry. Make sure it's through that line, and then again through the second one. And we're just going to work our way along until we get to that dot. And I like to mark the very edge of that bust point with a different coloured pin, just so I can see where that very edge point is. So I'm just going to go to here and push that pin through, so you can see it's gone through there. Lovely. Okay, so I'm just gonna pin the rest off camera. You can see we're almost there. Actually, you're still on camera, so you can follow along if you're pinning as well. And then what you'll get is this line here. So this is your bust dart. So we're going to stitch all the way along here, right off the very edge. So I'll meet you at the machine. And just to clarify, that looks something like this when we open it out. Okay, so I'll meet you at the machine and then we'll stitch that line along there together. Okay, so we're now at the machine and you can see I've lined up my presser foot at the very edge where we made those original notches. And what we're going to do now is stitch all the way along up to that different coloured pinhead that we've got. So we're essentially going to come off of the fabric at this point. So to start, what we're going to do is we're just going to start with a normal length stitch, but when we get to about here, the second to last pinhead, we are going to reduce that stitch length to the smallest stitch we can, and then we're going to continue, because we're not going to be able to back stitch. So that small or very, very narrow stitch that we're going to do from here to here and off, we'll just keep that really nice and secure, and then when we press it, it's going to look super crisp. So we've lined it up, we've got the notches that we originally made lined up with the presser foot and the needle at that very edge. So we're working our way from the outside in. So you want to line that up, you want to make sure that everything is flush, nothing is bulky or falling over itself at all. There we go. So we're just going to do a couple stitches and then a back stitch at this beginning edge here. And I am doing it in a contrasting thread, so you'll be able to see how that really looks in just a minute. So then we get to our next pin, so I'm just going to remove that, and we're just going to stitch along there to the third pin we've got. So you want to take it nice and slow. You want to make sure that the fabric isn't bulking or kind of catching underneath. You don't want any folds or any pinches underneath, and we're just going to carry on. And you can see where we've got that kind of inverted V shape. Now it's beginning to get narrower, and we're almost at that second to last pin. So I'm just going to remove that and keep an eye on where that was. So where my index finger is here, we're going to run up to. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reduce the stitch length to a 0.5 or a 0.8 on the machine. And then we're just going to come off the edge there, and we're going to make that tail nice and long. And then we're just going to snip our thread. So remember, leave a nice long tail. It's going to need that in a sec. So then with your long tail, what you're going to do is just going to wrap it around a finger and tuck it under. So we're just making a really tiny, easy knot. And then with your scissors, you're just going to cut that off to the very edge. And then let's have a look. That is what our dart will look like on the outside, and that is what it will look like on the inside. So you can see with that alternate colour stitch there, the thread, that's how it will look, and that's the underneath there. So I'm just going to go to, and you can see where the edge of our dart there lines up to the very edge of the bodice piece. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm going to give that a really lovely steamy press, just pushing that nice and flush, nice and crisp. Then flip it over, and with the edge of your iron, you just really want to get into that nice little bust crease there. And if you have got a clapper, if you have any, you know, extra ironing skills and you've got a clapper, then go over it with the clapper as well, just to make that really super crisp. Okay, so I've given it a good press, and now you can see this is what our bust dart looks like. So I'm just going to zoom in so you can see really closely. Lovely, looks pretty nice. And then on the back side here, you can see it's nice and flush. So there you have it. that is how we do our bust start. I hope this Skillshare has been useful for you. If you enjoyed it, do please like and subscribe, and feel free to message any questions or any queries you might have on any of these tutorials, and I will see you all soon. Thanks so much. Bye.